snacks.
You're still in a place where you care and you like what you like. But as a person personally who is relatively comfortable with who I am as a geek and otherwise, we recognize that there are a lot of people who don't have that, who aren't comfortable as geeks and in being who they are. And so we started doing this panel so that we could talk to more folks like you to find out how we get to that place, to be comfortable being a geek. And so, my good friend Sin here, as well as Jokes, Zaina, that is my oldest daughter, and Laney, who is joining us this time, are here to talk to you about what our journeys have been like, whether we are or are not comfortable, and we want you all to know that this is interactive. We're going to want to talk to some of you. Who here has, anybody here, social anxiety? A little bit? A little bit? Yeah. Look, some of you even are willing to put your hand all the way up. Let me explain that this is first and foremost a safe place. So we are all here to support each other and talk to each other, and again, figure out how we get comfortable being who we are, no matter what that is. So, I want to start with this. Sin.
Yes.
Are you a geek?
Absolutely.
Are you comfortable?
Very.
Good. We're going down the line. Jokes?
Yes, sir.
Are you a geek?
Yes, I am.
Are you comfortable?
Very much so.
Good. Glad to hear it. Zaina?
Hi.
I know you're a geek.
Yeah.
I didn't give you a choice.
Yeah.
That's my fault. Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There was hesitation. We can explore that later. Laney.
Yes. I'm not comfortable.
And you know what? So here's first and foremost, thank you for being up here in front of all these people, even though you're uncomfortable. I am gonna have some questions for you. I promise they won't be that difficult.
Can't wait.
It'll be just fine, I swear.
No trivia questions.
For those of you who are here, is there anybody out here in the crowd, by show of hands, anybody who is uncomfortable being a geek? Okay, I got one, I got two, I got a little bit, sort of. If you're comfortable, raise your hand. See, that's what I'm talking about. Were you always comfortable? Okay, I got one or two, but not all. So let's talk about you have always been. Yeah, kinda, sorta? Okay, I guess we need to figure that out too. So, Sin,
Yes.
as someone who is comfortable, how did you get comfortable?
By finding close friends like you all, like we've been Lord since high school, you know, pretty much.
Yes.
Hanging out and finding close friends who share the same things that I like, and learning that I don't need, you know, I have people close enough around me that I consider family to just be my complete self with and just, you know, go through our life with.
Yeah. Jokes?
Kind of exactly what he said, just surrounding myself. I was fortunate enough that, you know...
Can y'all hear him okay? Because it's my okay. I just want to make sure.
I was fortunate enough that, you know, my parents supported everything that I did. So that was one of the key things for me, you know. The only people's opinions that really matter were my parents. If I made them feel bad, that was one of those that you don't want. Everybody else, for the most part, was kind of like, you care about certain things people say about you, but then you're like, you know what I like, but I don't want to change that just for some random person that's out there for it.
Got it. Zaina?
Yes.
I'm going to skip you.
Rude.
Go on, that's you.
Just this time. Just this time. Laney, you're not comfortable.
I don't know. I'm not comfortable being a geek. I'm comfortable being a geek. Yeah, like you said, I think, you know, just not wanting to disappoint your family, your parents, your sister. And they were always super supportive. I used to make my sister watch me play video games when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Especially the creepy ones like Silent Hill.
Well, shame on you.
I didn't really have many friends in high school, and I didn't even know that this was like a thing.
Yeah.
In high school, I didn't have any geek friends. I didn't have any, you know, popular kid friends, whatever. So I'm glad that I have this like con family now that I can be comfortable being geeky.
Yeah.
And it's normal.
It is very normal here. Is it, Zaina,
Yeah.
as a was it more difficult, you think, to navigate your geekdom growing up?
I think in some ways you definitely kind of had a little bit of pushback because being like super young and like I brought my Spider-Man encyclopedia with me everywhere I went. And like, yeah, I do know more than you. What are you gonna do about it? But I think that I also was really lucky that like it was my dad that kind of got me into this kind of stuff. So like, and everybody likes my dad. I don't know why, but they do. So luckily my friends are like, oh, your dad's cool, I guess you're cool too. Like that kind of thing. But it definitely sometimes can be a little bit, I don't want to say intimidating, but it can feel less welcoming to be a fan of some of the things that like we are fans of.
Yeah. Where are my gamers? Raise your hand if you're a gamer. Okay, we got tons of gamers. I'm gonna assume most of us are comic book people in some manner. Yeah, is that a safe assumption? We shouldn't really assume, but I'm gonna assume. What else are our fandoms? Is there anybody here who like Monday morning you're gonna go back to work and your coworkers have no idea you came to a thing like this? Raise your hand. Okay, there's one. There's two. There's three. There's four. Okay. So are we not comfortable with them knowing that this is a thing that we do or that we enjoy?
Not for me. I just like to keep work personal myself.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair. I understand that. What about the rest of you? If you are not letting the people you work with know that this is a thing that you're doing, is it because you think maybe they would look at you a certain way or look at you differently, something like that?
Something like that. Or it's just, especially as a teenager, teenagers now have a lot to say.
Sure.
So I don't want to hear his others.
It's easier that way. Easier that way. What about, for those of you who are, I said work, but what about school? Same thing? Like, do we have, going back to school is a thing that like, we're not going to tell people that we chose to dress up and we went to a place like this. Are we gatekeeping a little bit? Like, do we not want them in our fun place? Is that it at all? No? Everybody's good with anybody else being here? That's cool. I dig that. Sin.
Yeah.
What was the thing that helped you transition from being uncomfortable? Again, like outside of like finding people who were like how did you know you were comfortable?
It was around the first time when, probably the first few times we started hanging out and realizing like I had always walked that weird ground where yes, I read comic books and play video games and people might have thought, oh, that's a little weird, you know, watch the football game that came on last night and I was watching X-Men. That's what I was doing. But then also, I was a big music person, you know, band, geek, hip-hop person. So then like when the new Outkast scene would come out, I could sit at the lunch table and go word for word with everybody at the table. You know what I'm saying? So it was always this weirdest, like you had to be one or the other. I felt like some people looked at it, but then like I said, when we men started hanging out, like he does the exact same thing I do. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else around us does the exact same thing that we do. So I just a matter of finding my people. You know,
do you all have your people? Do you all have people around you that help make you more comfortable being the geeks that you are? No, you do not.
No, I like don't have any friends and family.
Okay. You do now? You do now? Well, you do now. Zane.
Yeah.
I remember when you were like 8, and we were having a cookout. And
she's like, where you going?
And everybody at the cookout was playing Soul Calibur.
Yes.
And none of the adult men could get you off of the controller.
Correct. Absolutely.
And I remember them being very angry. Yes. But you being very proud.
Yes, I was.
I was too. I told you.
Yeah,
I was too. Jokes, in navigating being comfortable, when you meet people who aren't comfortable, is there something different that you do with somebody who you find is not comfortable to help get them comfortable?
I'll try to find something that they like. So maybe something that I personally haven't jumped into or I haven't dove into before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, that actually is pretty cool. You know what, let me go ahead and watch said show or read said comic book to kind of be on that same wavelength. So maybe we can have maybe a basic conversation. The person maybe, you know, is well versed in Spider-Man, for example, and maybe I didn't get into Spider-Man. So let me go ahead, I'm gonna read this and so we can have a conversation like that.
Yeah.
And in doing so, you know what, hey, I like, my biggest fandom thing for me is Gundam. So for a lot of people, if you didn't grow up, like say, watching Toonami or something like that back in the day, you may not necessarily have been exposed to it.
Right.
So I'll say, hey, you know what, watch an episode of A, B, and C. And then we kind of have that common ground on
You're
something
creating
like that.
a space.
A space.
The two of you to
Just because I like something doesn't mean necessarily they're gonna like it or they're not gonna like it.
Oh yeah, you mean like how you're a huge Power Rangers fan and I don't care?
You got it.
Is that what you're talking about? Anybody else Power Rangers fans here?
I'm on, I don't care.
Okay, you're in there. Okay. So,
Yeah.
alright, so before I go off on a tangent, I just want to see how many people here are going to be upset at me before I do this. No, look, here's the thing. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. Love comics and comic books and video games and so forth. Always have. Sin is considered like our anime guy, like in our group. He's our anime guru.
Yes.
90% of the time, 99% of the time, you can ask him an anime-related question, he's got an answer, and that is wonderful. Jokes is our wrestling fans? All right, there's a couple of y'all. I'm okay with just being a couple. Jokes is our wrestling guy, our Gundam guy, our Pokemon guy.
Imagine
Pokemon guy. I don't like any of it. I like it, but here's the thing. We get along because I respect his fandoms. Like, I love that he loves those things. And the thing that I love about it is that I know he loves, the things that he loves about those things are the same things I love about the things I love. Right? So it's not, I mean, I do hate Pokemon, but like, it's not that I hate
You just don't want to go down a rabbit hole.
I will not go
That's
down
what
the
it is.
Pokemon rabbit. I'm
And you're dragging.
So if I start, I can't get away. Is Zayna?
Yeah.
It's a dangerous question.
Oh Lord.
What's your
Here we go.
what's your fandom? What's your big fandom?
Oh, I have so many. However, the one is K-pop. That's my thing.
K-pop folks in the building?
Hey friends, how y'all doing?
Okay. So we're gonna do a couple of things for the K-pop people in the building. Relax. What K-pop band is your favorite?
BTS, that's my alt. Alt is BTS, used to be Shiny, but I know some.
See?
They were, and they did such a good job.
She's so excited.
Yeah, I cried over it, it's fine.
And because I have to, just to satisfy, it's a necessity. Who's your bias?
Mid-union. Sugar.
And by proxy, who's mine?
His bias is actually Namjoon. Whether he decides to admit that or not is on him, but that's his favorite member.
I mean, whatever. We do what we do. Laney, are you a DC girl?
I am a DC girl.
Okay.
Mostly Batman.
Mostly Batman.
Yeah.
Why Batman?
Mostly not Superman.
But how that?
Because it's so emo and brooding. I just love it.
Okay.
Superman's like too happy and I don't know.
Okay.
Obnoxious.
He's square.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't like the square.
I just love Batman.
Okay. When you found how did you find this world? I guess that's where we should start. How did you?
I feel like it was through my best friend Marvin over here sitting in the crowd.
Hey, best friend Marvin. Let me tell y'all something. That guy takes incredible pictures.
Yes.
That dude shoots photos. Y'all need photos? That gentleman right
I'll
there.
mark.
Just so y'all know. He'll be at the same table she's at, probably.
Yeah, no, I mean, I always knew this world existed, but I was always too afraid to obviously, like, come by myself.
Yeah.
And then I think Baltimore Comic Con was like my first convention I went to, and I went with my cousin, and I was like, I mean, I guess I have blonde hair, I'll be Black Canary, I have, you know, this leotard in my closet, I'll wear this.
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is a thing. Like, everyone was trying to talk to me about DC Comics and Batman, and Marvel was taking my photo. And, I was like, this is awesome. Like, people like things like this, and I can come to this and feel comfortable being myself, which never really happened before. So,
Really?
yeah.
So do you feel most comfortable as yourself when you're at conventions?
I would say so, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so conventions don't happen anywhere near enough.
Correct.
Okay.
No, but I mean, my full-time, daytime job is pretty nerdy also, so I get to be nerdy there also.
That's fair.
I'm surrounded by scientists and doctors and astronauts, so it's, yeah.
I dig that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is there, for you, a significant difference between a nerd and a geek?
Ooh. Honestly, I don't even really know what like quantifies as a nerd and a geek anymore. Like,
It's a little blurry now.
I don't know what I am. I just like what I like, and
I think that's probably the most
I don't
important
really
thing.
label myself as anything. I'm just like, yep, I'm just here and I like Batman.
I think for those of you who are here in the crowd, is there anyone here who feels like they identify more with being a nerd versus being a geek? Is there a difference for you? Are you a nerd? Got nerds.
Okay.
Are you a geek? We got some of both. So what's the difference? Nerds are smart. I mean,
What if you're both though?
You can be both.
you can be both. You can be both. So,
I'm not going to call you a nerd if you're not like really smart.
okay, all right, you know what? I'll accept that. And I think that depends. But I have found, at least when I was growing up, I stopped growing up a long time ago. When I was growing up, nerds were like very socially awkward, glasses, pocket protector,
Look smart.
super smart, and bullies like made them do their homework, is what a nerd was. And geeks is a little bit of a newer thing. I think geeks were more like a weirdo.
Yeah, that's what always the definition was for me. So a geek was always the person who was doing the weird or grotesque acts.
Sure.
And that's what the definition was. I always heard.
Right. So I think over time, what we've learned, especially in doing stuff like this, is that like geeks slash nerds, and mostly geeks, just tend to be somebody who is really knowledgeable and has a lot of love for a particular thing, right? And so if you're really into sports, technically, you're a sports one. Do we have sports people here? A couple? Okay. But when you're into sports, Sin, what do they tend to call you?
Aficionado.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're into history, you're a
History buff.
history buff.
Yes.
They don't necessarily call you a geek, like they get a different kind of a name, a different connotation. But like if you're heavily into motorcycles, if you're a Harley guy or gal, really, you're a Harley geek, right? You know any and everything there is to know about it, and you love digging into the minute details of what that thing is, right? And for some reason, if that thing that you know every minute detail about is Batman, or anime, or God forbid Power Rangers.
I'm just glad it wasn't me.
I didn't say K-pop.
I know, yeah, I was just
For some reason, you don't get to be an aficionado or a buff. You get labeled a geek because that makes you weird or something, right? I think a lot of that is changing. Do you agree that that's kind of changing? Again, the lines are a little more blurry. Who grew up on Toonami? Yeah, see, I didn't get to do that. That was after the fact. Sin,
Yes.
when we was watching anime,
Yeah, we had to bootleg ours.
how'd we get it?
We had to go to the store out College Park called Pandora's Cube and buy VHS tapes of people who recorded it on their television.
Straight up. VHS.
Yes.
Hey, Joe.
Yo.
What's a VHS? I know what you
I skate the line. Like, VHS. And eventually they evolved the DVD, and I was like, yes.
Whatever. I think that Toonami, right, made stuff like anime much more synonymous, right? So like, everybody on the playground was watching the same thing, and you were learning about it and becoming enveloped in that world, and it was a little bit easier.
Like we say, now you can go find t-shirts at Target.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, you can never do that back in the day.
Yo, listen, Spider-Man stuff is everywhere. Like, I walk past the Stride Right and see Spider-Man shoes, and I'm like, what those?
No, you go on a 7-Eleven,
Probably
man.
feel it.
You on a 7-Eleven.
Now listen.
that stuff.
Now listen.
I'm sorry, it was right
Hey,
there.
Coop, you're fired.
It was right there.
It was right there. So again, like that landscape is changing. So, Zaina, for you currently,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
How'd you get comfortable?
I mean, I know everybody up here has said it, but community is so, I think, important. And also, I think there comes a time when you just kind of stop caring, I think. Like you just, once you find 2, 3, sometimes it's just that one person who like takes the time to decide that they're gonna understand something that you're into, whether they were into it or not. I think that when that safe space is created for you, whether it be from a community or just a friend or even family, you start to, I think part of the reason we feel uncomfortable is because of a lack of respect. I think a lot of times things like this that we are into, anime, superheroes, even K-pop, any of those things are considered kind of childish, I think. And they don't get the respect that we see them deserve. And so to feel like you are not being respected and the things that you don't like are not being respected, that creates a feeling of being upset and also that uncomfortability. So I think just finding someone who is able to say like, no, like what are you, tell me about it. Like, yes, tell me all 7 members of BTS, please, today, right? By all means, I have PowerPoints. Like, let's go. I do, legitimately. But like, I think just finding someone or a group of people who are willing to listen to you is really important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, was anybody here, were you ever bullied at all? Okay, so we definitely have some hands in the air. Are any of you currently bullied? Okay, that's a good thing. We got one? A little bit? Kind of, sort of? Okay. We can talk after. Are you bullied? Did I bully you into coming up here and being on stage? Just want to make sure that's, you know.
No, I feel like I still have to, when I first started cosplaying, I feel like I had to explain to people a lot, like, why do you do this? Like, it was always like, I don't get it. Like, and I was like, well, do you go golfing on the weekend? Like,
Yeah.
do you go to a book club? I don't know. What else? Do you like to cook? Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing, and it's not like it's not just for little kids, and it's just a thing that we all like.
So I'm going to tell you what helped me. A couple of things. But the first thing was the realization that, like, everybody is a geek in some way for something. And I realized that it's not up to anybody else to decide how much of a fan you are by how you choose to celebrate your fandom. Case in point. You all know that football is a big deal on Sundays, right? Yeah, that's a thing. Sunday night football is a thing. If you've ever been to a football game or watched one, seen a crowd, you know how everybody like piles in, they have their jerseys on, they got their hats on, they wear the team colors, like it's all a big deal. That's a thing they do, right? Why not? Yes? Isn't that cosplay? Right? Like, you put on somebody else's jersey with somebody else's name on it because if you don't wear it that day, your team's not going to win. Right?
You paint your body half the color.
But that's the other thing, right? But then there are the people who go to the game naked and they paint themselves the color of the team and paint words on themselves, and they're the people that start the wave at the beginning of it. There are people who push their fandom way beyond what other people do. Right? Somebody who just wears a couple of t-shirts might still be a season pass holder, though, right? Have season tickets or that kind of thing. Spend all kinds of money and really love and enjoy what they do. And I realized that those people who dress up every Sunday with somebody else's jersey on so they can pretend to be somebody else are no different than the Jedis that show up when I go to a movie.
Yeah, if you go to Baltimore Comic-Con, you'll have a show-off between the Ravens and the cosplayers, and it's almost like a who's gonna move first kind of situation.
Exactly.
So looking at us like we're weird, and we're looking at them like they're weird.
And they are. Like football people are weirdos.
So you don't put on Baltimore Comic-Con on a Sunday.
Exactly. Right? Or Orioles game. Like if you're out there and you see all the people in their Orioles gear and they're ready to go. I also had a conversation with a young lady once. I ran into her at Applebee's. She was dressed up, right? She had like a beautiful dress on, pearls. And I was like, did I miss your graduation? She's like, no. Me and my friends went to go see Sex and the City. I was like, what? She's like, yeah. I was like, you're all dressed like this? She's like, yeah. And sure enough, they all were. I was like, you guys realize you're Star Wars geeks, you're cosplayers, you're like the 501st of Sex and the City. Like, that feeling that you got, like, they were like, you have to. Like, it's a thing, you need to dress up to go see Sex and the City. And I was like, I didn't know. But now I do. And now they understand, right?
Sex and the City geeks.
That's right. Sex and the City geeks.
Yep.
I never knew. Now I do. Here's what I want to do. Time is in.
2:30.
Okay. Here's what I want to do. I want to start kind of getting some ideas about where people can go to join great groups.
You mean besides
places.
the snacks?
Oh, yes, I mean besides the snacks. But I mean, because for anybody who isn't comfortable or wants to be around more people like who you are, I think it's important to share. So I want to know what groups you're in, where you guys hang out on the internet. If it's safe, don't set us up here. I want to know that. But, Sin, what would you suggest to somebody who's looking for a place where they can go, where it's safe, where they can find like-minded people?
Well, outside of all of our places, our platforms, I think just using social media properly and finding whether it's a Reddit group or a Facebook group or a Discord server or a channel that some of your friends might be a part of, some like-minded people. I think that's the best way, one of the best ways to tackle finding somebody, especially in this COVID kind of climate we're coming out of. I think when social media is used properly, you can find your family out there. Because I found plenty of people online that are, in the anime and stuff like that. We talk all the time and, become good friends. So.
Okay. Laney?
Definitely social media. I mean, it's allowed us to show the world what we're into, right? Instead of having to walk up to people and tell them what we're into.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just.
All right, question. Are online friends considered real friends in your mind?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. As a matter of fact, we have a guy who was with us yesterday. He's back here today. His friend came down from New York. This is the first time they ever met each other. They're gamer buddies. They play online, and now they're hanging out here at AwesomeCon for the first time.
Yep.
So yeah, absolutely. I think an online friend can absolutely be a real friend for sure. Jokes. Outside of the Pokemon chat. Oh, let me do something real quick.
No.
Oh boy. Curveball.
We have any Transformers fans in here?
Here we go.
We don't have any
Is Beast Wars is a thing?
No, we're not. Leave, sir. You can go, sir. We're not doing that baseball stuff.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not.
Because that's where this is going.
Yeah, you don't
Alright, so go to the Beast Wars fan club. Joe, where should people go? Where can they go to find like-minded people? What's the suggestion that you have?
If by chance, some folks still out there, if you're in school, like a lot of places on school campuses have good environments. Like we just recently were at Bowie State University and actually found out they have a pretty cool anime club on campus. And what was pretty interesting was there were students that came to their panel that they were having that had no idea that something like that actually existed on campus. So definitely in school type of environments is a good place to go. The internet, social media now is probably just like 5% of the people that are here are fairly good people that you'll run into. There's always the one-off type of person that you may run into, but when you're able to come to like these panels that maybe focus on your fandom or something like that. Like earlier today, there was a Power Ranger panel in here for a fan version of it, and I'm sure same thing. If you're a Power Ranger fan, you go to something like that. But definitely social media, school environments are probably some of your easiest things to get into.
Got it. Here's what I'm gonna say. It's probably easier to find like-minded people on social media, and it's probably easier to feel comfortable leaving a message or a remark or a comment or something in, you know, in that space. But when you're somewhere like this, right, and you see somebody who has on a really cool cosplay that you really like, tell them, let them know, introduce yourself, right? Ask them if they have Instagram and follow, right? You really do have to sometimes break out of your shell a little bit in order to create a network for yourself that creates that safety net for you, right? So, look, by all means, you know, you guys can follow me on my personal page. Like, I don't have problems with that, right? But I do think it's important to, again, recognize that, oh man, they did a great job with that, I really like it, right? And kind of show that love, but to actually start talking to people, because you do kind of have to do some of that work yourself. Like, it's not necessarily just going to find you. If you're more comfortable in a space like this than you are when you leave, like if Monday is going to be like a disaster for you, right? If it's not going to feel comfortable for you on Monday, then here's a place where right here, right now, you can meet people where on Monday, you can jump in that chat room, right? And start talking to people to get that level of comfortability that maybe you don't have outside of that. If you are going back to work and the people at work have no idea you came to a thing like this, try not to assume that they wouldn't want to be here. Because they might be hiding it from you just like you're hiding it from them, right? And they might find out you went to this thing and they're like, oh, I wish I knew. I would have gone, right? So sometimes we gatekeep a little bit, right, Zay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's my favorite K-pop group, Zay?
I'm not gonna answer that question.
Huh? You're not gonna
No, it's not true. He thinks his favorite K-pop group is Blackpink. It's not.
They got the joints. What do you mean? They got the joints.
Anyway. Also, just FYI, if you are going to do the social media route to find places to go, search your area and whatever fandom you're in. Because there are plenty of, like, DMV X, whatever fandom it is. That's also a really great way to find tags and accounts and things like that, too.
Indeed. Utilize hashtags, right?
Yeah.
Yes?
What would you recommend for someone looking for like casuals and stuff like this?
I would tell you, like, if it's not necessarily about stuff like this, but it's just about like meeting people and having people to hang out with.
I know DC has a sports league, like a kickball league, so like that to join.
Go to like meetup.com. Like there are meetup groups in this area that do some of everything. There are literally meetup groups for salsa, merengue, for tennis, for bowling, for whatever, right? So if there's a particular thing that you want to do, right, you can actually go and you can find through a website like meetup.com that has groups of people, and they'll travel from place to place. Like the salsa group I used to follow, they would just be like, this Saturday we're going to be at this salsa club, and this Saturday we're at this one, and this Wednesday we're going to be here. And most of that group, they just kind of go, and so when they get there, they know people, they see people they've seen, you know, before. It's things like that. Again, sometimes you do have to do the legwork, right? Like it's not necessarily just going to happen for you. But it absolutely can happen. You just got to put in a little effort, you know what I mean, on your end. And try not to keep people out. Just in case there's somebody who thinks the same thing you think or feels the same way you feel, and they just don't know that they could be. How long ago did you start doing cosplay?
Pardon me, what year was that? Oh, like 8 years ago?
8 years ago. There's been Comic-Cons for far longer than that, right? Prior to doing that, did you know Comic-Cons were a thing?
I kind of knew they were a thing, but I was too scared to go to them, so.
Sure, right? So
it just left my house alone.
anybody who's seen Big Bang Theory, I'm sure knows that there are Comic-Cons, right? Like now. But that show's only what's so old, right? So again, spaces like this, there are people who have no idea they even exist, right? And that person might be lonely, or might be looking for something like this and have no idea that it's an option. And so sometimes it is on us to get to a point where we're comfortable enough to be who we are and say what we are so that that conversation can happen, right? To let other people in. No gatekeeping, right, Sin?
Nope.
All right. Sin,
Yes, sir.
best advice you have for anybody who is currently not comfortable?
Reach out to your family and friends, your close ones, you know, the ones that mean a lot to you, and, you know, express it. It's okay to, you know, share what's on your heart, share what's on your mind, and, you know, they can help you heal and move forward. That's what I would say.
Zaina?
Do more of what you are enjoying. Just increase the amount that you are, whatever media it is that you like, increase the amount you're intaking. It will, and eventually you'll find your space. Also, if you're not comfortable talking to people that you know right away, like, you know, just take your time to figure out what feels best for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Laney?
Why is she so good at this?
It's like a cheat code at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I would say don't be scared. It's easier said than done, but don't be nervous. Be yourself. Yeah, don't be afraid to express yourself. You will find someone along the way.
Yeah. Joe?
I would say, you know, try to be as open as you possibly can, you know, where, you know, you want to share your fandoms, but also be receiving of someone else's, because you'll start to find those type of common grounds out there. You know, like gatekeeping, like we said, you know, try to invite people into some of those things where maybe they wouldn't necessarily like it, but because they haven't experienced or been familiar with it, that could be an opening for them as well too.
Hey, who here likes mayonnaise?
Who's? What?
Perfect. There's like two of y'all. That's perfect. The mayonnaise is terrible. And I'm looking for groups of people who don't like mayonnaise.
Just start your own group, man. Just start your own group.
Yeah.
Laney loves mayonnaise.
Do you love mayonnaise?
Yeah, man, I dip my potato chips in
Yeah, don't do that. Mayonnaise is
French fries.
mayonnaise. I know it's a thing in some places, but seriously, it's sandwiches. It's a score. The bread together. So here's what I want to do. Is there anybody here who has questions for any of us up here except for Laney? Yes.
Yeah, just have a question. You know, people often hold back this area and thinking about what's the worst thing that can happen. So yeah, I'll flip it around. What's one of the best things that happened to you when you kind of opened up, you know, a little surprise and it turned out to be really awesome?
For me personally, stuff like this. Like having an opportunity, when we started, this started as like a podcast for us, just talking about things that we like because we were doing it anyway. Like we get on Xbox Live or whatever, and we were talking about the stuff we liked anyway. So it was like, why don't we do it and share it, right? And there was going to be no video, there was no YouTube, it was just going to be like, it would just be audio. And it still made you very nervous.
Oh my God, I was definitely afraid. Like, for me to be up here now, years later, I'm so comfortable doing this now. But at first, just sitting behind a mic with just us in a room and just talking was just a thing.
This is recording?
And then he came along,
Turned it into video.
and started adding videos, which made me even more nervous.
Yeah.
But got through it with them, with these guys, and you know, I'm up here today for the
Seriously, opening up and doing something like this has allowed us to meet so many people, so many great people who love so many different things.
Yes.
I've learned about so many fandoms I didn't even know existed. And whether I like them or not, again, I just love the fact that people love it. And I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a thing like that? Something that you just, when you decided to open up and go for it, it's the best thing that came out of it?
I mean, I think just, coming to a convention, I have met all of my friends that I have now, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I never expected that to happen. And
Yeah.
I just thought I was going to go and walk around and, nope, I have all of you.
Cool.
Have a comment.
Yeah.
I can clarify or a little bit better on there. I'm talking about like not in this type of environment.
Oh.
you know, going to work and saying, hey, I went to a comic con last week, or, you know, wearing your Batman shirt when you're in the grocery store, and then suddenly you make a really good friend who, something like that, you know,
Sure.
not within the state zone.
I can do one for that. So at a point, so I used to work for a bank. So for me, like now I'm 32, I work for a bank probably in my late 20s. So everyone that I work with.
That was like 3 years ago.
Stop.
You're late 20s. Wow. You say that like it was a long time.
It is a few years. Just walk with me. Walk with me. Gosh.
All right, okay. I'm sorry.
But you know, working like in a bank type of environment, it was a lot of older people in comparison to like my age range. So I'll tell you, 90% of the time, it's like, yeah, I have on a suit and tie and everything. There was probably like Dragon Ball Z or some type of shirt that was underneath of it. So, you know, one day I wore it was like a bluish color shirt, but you could actually see through it, and someone saw my Dragon Ball Z shirt, and you know, it's like, wait, you like Dragon Ball Z? And like literally this started a whole conversation on a floor in a bank. And then in doing so, opened up other people to say, wait, so you like anime and you like these type of things? I'm like, yeah, I go to conventions all the time. And they're like, what, really? That's a thing? So I literally had a whole conversation with people that didn't know like this was a thing. And it started opening up to like, well, you know, I watched the MCU movies. And like, and it just started to cascade from there. Because going into like that type of environment, at one point like I felt like kind of the solo person in the bank doing what.
You're the only one who likes that stuff.
I thought I was the only person that liked that stuff. And then because of that one instance of someone being able to see my Dragon Ball Z shirt, it opened up a whole entire world within there for it.
I will tell you that I have a coworker who is not into any of this, and I happened to mention to him that I love this stuff, right? And I do stuff like this, and he said to me, "Oh yeah, my son's kind of into that stuff." And I said, "Oh yeah?" And he's like, "Yeah, he likes to draw." Turns out his son is like a really talented artist, right? He likes to draw, and he's thinking about going to school, art school. Like I know some artists and people who went to art school, and he graduated from high school. His son graduated from high school yesterday, and as a gift because of that, we were able to gift him a pass to come here, to be able to come to Awesome Con. And so he's here, and his dad's like, "I'll buy a badge. You guys, we got him in." And it was great. It's a wonderful thing to talk to somebody who isn't into it, doesn't care about it. They're like, my kid's into it, you know what I mean? But we were able to, and now they're here together. They're here walking around the show floor together, bonding over something that the father didn't really have any interest in, so to speak. So it was really, really cool. Yes, I saw a question in the back. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Time's up. So, here's what we're going to do. Listen, thank you all for coming. I greatly appreciate it. Give yourselves a round of applause. You guys want to follow us? It's easy to find us. We're at Loading Snacks. Across the board, anywhere you search us, you'll find us. Feel free to follow us. We'll be outside if you guys want to talk. If you have other questions or anything else you want to do me a favor and make sure you go visit Laney's booth. Okay? What's your booth number? Come on.
What is it? 2757?
2757. That's what she said. 2757. You guys, please go visit Laney. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you all. We'll be outside. Cool?
Yes.
What's good, Loading Snacks universe? Did you think that was too sweet? Well, do me a favor. Like, share, and subscribe on whatever platform you're watching us on. And also, jump on over to patreon.com/Loading Snacks, where you can support us in everything we do and pick the tier of your choice. Much appreciated.